everyone. Nice to see you all. How are you?
Oh,
Hey,
good.
doing good.
Going good.
Nice. I'm really glad that you are all here. We have prepared some questions for you, but we are also waiting some questions for our lovely audience. Let's start this discussion. Describe your relationship with AI in your daily development work. Are you a skeptic, enthusiast, or somewhere in the middle? Daniel, would you like to start?
Yeah, sure thing. So my relationship with AI, I am primarily a content creator for Bitter Brains. I do a lot of content at View School, and obviously with the rise of AI, we have been experimenting a lot with, what we can teach, how we can make developers' lives better with that. So I have used it in terms of helping to create written content, helping to create video content, but also helping to write code. So I've kind of dabbled in a little bit of all of it.
Mm-hmm. Who wants to go next?
Mm,
Yes.
yeah, for me, I'm like, it's pretty much like what Daniel said. Like, I do create content usually, and like, I use the help of AI in creating content on so many aspects. So it is really helpful when it comes to writing, when it comes to posting new stuff, when it comes to helping you to explain something even better in simple terms. Like I always try to see what AI will come up with when I go to it and tell it like a very complicated concept, and I tell it to explain it to me as if I'm five. And it does wonders, really. It can find good examples. It can really use simple terms. So basically, AI helps in writing, creating content, and even coding, definitely. But since usually I no longer do everyday coding, I use it mainly for content.
Yeah. How about you, Navya?
So for me, it's a bit different. Coding is my bread and butter, I would say. And coming from an accessibility point of view, because at Adobe, I work on components and try to make them accessible. And I have seen the shift in AI. Earlier and back in the days when we had Chat GPT 3.5, and I remember I used to ask it to follow the A or double A guidelines and the WCAG guidelines. It hallucinated. It gave me wrong answers.
Yeah.
And this is the truth. Like, and I have seen the shift, and now it's not there, I would say, because accessibility is something that requires human involvement a lot, but it is improving. It's like AI is like my first draft tool. That's how I call it. Give me a dirty, quick solution, it will be there. And then, of course, your skill set matters, and you have to be the sole owner and make sure whatever AI has come up with, it will give you the right answer. So I would say earlier, if scaffolding code used to take 70% of my time, now it's taking 7%. And top of that, the skill set that I bring to the table helps. So, yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Justin?
So I code a lot. Almost my entire job is coding, and I would say that my hot take for you guys is that I think AI is actually underhyped. I think it's even more important than we all let on, because we're sort of prisoners of the moment, and in the moment we see you know all of its failings, just like you said. It's not always accurate on things and stuff like that, and so we begin to devalue it in our minds as a actual tool that we can use every day, especially on the coding side, where it does still make some pretty horrific mistakes occasionally. But the improvement is so rapid and it's so fast that not only will it, in short order, in a very short order, produce incredibly good code. It already is producing incredibly good code. The thing that I'm even more excited about as developers is we should be using it not just to write our code, but to create new experiences, new apps, new kinds of things. There's so much focus that's gone into how do I use AI to code. it's sort of weird that we've forgotten, how do I use AI? Like, how do I build with AI? And that's where I think the next great revolution is going to come. And the exciting thing to me is I really do believe that at this point it's already good enough that it's the ball's in our court as engineers now. And the things that are there to be built are really an engineering problem at this point more than an AI problem.
Thank you for that. And since we touched a little bit on accessibility, the next question is, what's the most dangerous AI-generated code you've encountered that seemed perfectly fine but failed on accessibility? I don't know if any of you have any stories of that. Anyone? Okay.
I have a story, but my talk is about that, so I won't disclose it yet. I let the audience tune in for the talk.
All right.
One
I
quick
respect that.
anecdote. It's not necessarily on accessibility, but just to don't rely on AI so much. Do check yourself. I remember my wife teaches English online, and I was creating a little price calculator for her because she sells these English classes, and it looked great, and it made calculations, and then we threw it up for her, and then people actually started using it, and the math was not right at all. So like the most important, like it looked great and it looked like it was working, but the most important part of it, which was actually calculating that price, was completely wrong. So yeah, just do be careful and check yourself.
Okay, and a quick question. If you folks know, how many lines of code do you think AI has written for you this or the past month? This month is a little bit short because we are just on the 3rd day of June, but do you know on average how much AI is writing for you?
For me, it's thousands, I think. I've been trying to figure out the whole AI thing in the last month. I think also Daniel excessively used it in the last month as well. But we were trying few things, and we're trying to understand it more, and we're trying to make it behave exactly as we wanted to. So we had to do a lot of prompting, we have to do a lot of testing, and also I wanted to build actually to see how far it would get if it's just vibe coding. So vibe coding means that I rarely write any code, so I just try to go as far as I can with building applications with vibe coding, and that definitely wrote like thousands of lines of codes.
And Mostafa, how do you think this is going for you? Do you see good results, or is it something that you're still working on?
Well, vibe coding is actually impressive at the first glimpse, but as you go on, like everyone knows, as the code base becomes more complicated, as you request more features over time, things get messy and it gets really like buggy, and you end up with error loops where you like fix this and then it breaks something else, and then it breaks what you already fixed, and so on. Like it's really impressive how AI is capable of doing that. Like just thinking about it, it is kind of like magic, you know. When I never thought that I would see that day where I just write text and the whole thing is tailored when it comes to the design, the implementation, the whole thing is tailored just for what I wrote. So that's impressive, and it's getting better in time. But for now, I wouldn't say that I would rely on it for a very big project.
Yeah, I think we're all standing on the same page here. Is there a developer task where you absolutely refuse to use AI assistance, and what's your no AI zone?
That's a really good question.
Yeah, it's an interesting question. For me, AI tools are always the starting point, and I don't have any shame in accepting that. Yeah. For me, it is a starting point. I think that's the sentiment that needs to be worked up. I would say, at least for developers, for coding, we are now becoming more like orchestrators of the system rather than writing, line by line code and being the line by line authors. So yes, that's where my thing comes from. Thinking about a use case where know AI at all. Maybe I've not explored, and my knowledge might be noob in that area. Maybe when it comes to security or things like these, I might be a bit reluctant because, of course, I am also training my system or giving away those things to AI, which can backfire me. So maybe that might be one area.
For me, for example, it would be something simpler, like for personal messages. I would never use AI to write a personal message to someone, because I've heard a lot of people use ChatGPT to answer to their private conversation and stuff like that. But for me personally, this is a no AI zone.
Well, I have to admit, I use AI when it comes to personal messages. And this is because sometimes I'm not a native English speaker. So sometimes I want to say something and I don't know how to express it. And when I write it down, it's a very long message. Like it's a very long, detailed, boring message. And I just want to know what is the term that can just make it look normal, but it never helped me to sound human. So I drop it. I drop it most of the time.
Emotions.
But
That's
yeah.
so true. That's so true.
Yeah.
But there's a hidden mode in ChatGPT that I just recently discovered. So I'm not sure whether it's using it to train the data or not, but there is a hidden mode in ChatGPT. So the chat will basically vanish. It won't be in your history anymore. So for your personal messages, guys.
That could be interesting. Is AI making developers lazy or more productive? I think this is a question many people are asking, and many people are also thinking about it.
Both.
Both? Okay. Would you like to elaborate a little bit?
I think it's definitely doing both. I mean, I find myself sometimes when I'm confronted with a new problem, thinking like, I don't want to think through that. Let me just see what the AI comes up with. And that can be pretty effective. But it's undeniable, I think, that it makes you more productive as well. I mean, if AI is not making you more productive, you are personally doing something incorrect in your usage that you can switch and become more productive. It's absolutely a productivity gain. I was going to say one quick thing too about the previous question, which I thought was excellent. And there are some areas that I would say AIs probably should not spend any time in code specifically. And those are areas where the code is doing something very novel. So like I have a lot of open source libraries and things like that, but I have a lot of internal libraries that I use myself. And some of them are very novel. They don't exist because they're dealing with AI or things like that. And they require, truly new engineering in order for it to work, something the AI has effectively never seen. And when you give that to the AI, it stumbles on itself all the time. It just cannot reason about what the code is doing effectively enough. It can pattern match very well, which most of the time is good enough because most of the things you write in your job are not novel. But occasionally you do write something novel. And in those rare instances, you do kind of want to keep the AI away from it.
Yeah, thank you, Justin, for adding this. Anyone else about the lazy or more productive?
Yeah, Justin, I think that's an excellent point, man. At the end of the day, all AI really is, it's not a thinking thing, right? It's a predictor of words. It's really just saying, okay, I've seen this out there thousands of times or whatever. I can predict what's coming next. And I think that's an excellent point. I've kind of found the same experience there. If it's novel, then use your brain a little bit. But on that same note, I also want to address, Justin, what you just said about if you're not being more productive with AI, then you're doing something wrong. And maybe I can say guilty for that. Not all the time, right? I find myself being more productive with AI on a lot of occasions. But then there are other times where I find myself relying on it too much. And I kind of go down this rabbit hole of letting it think too much for me. And I get myself in this danger zone where I've really dug a hole that probably wasn't even necessary. Like I could have done the styling on that component myself and not chase down, with AI for 30 minutes. Have you ever
I
gotten into that cycle where you just
completely
feel like it's like
Absolutely.
a spiral?
Absolutely. And like, that's where I would say that we are guilty.
Okay.
Right? Like, we are guilty in those instances. And like, I don't know, there's two sort of belief systems about what using AI now versus later should be. Like, some people say, if you're not using AI now, you're falling behind. And then some people say, well, if AI is going to get better over time, then why do I need to learn it now? Why not just learn the future iteration of it? Right? This is like a great debate. And I would say the reason to learn it now, it's not that you won't be able to learn it later. It's that you need to build up a little bit of that scar tissue yourself to know and have an intuition of when it's an AI problem versus when it's not. And at first you do not have that. And so you throw things at the AI over and over and over again that are really beyond it. And then you also start to pick up, like, over time, you start to pick up an understanding of what is a good model versus a bad model. What is, like, which one should I choose? You become a connoisseur of models in a way once you've built up this intuition. But before you have that, you are very much in the dark. And I have gone down so many dead ends, just like you said, where I asked the AI to do something for me. It came up with a solution that was suboptimal, and I ran with it. And then in the end, I had to back it all the way back out.
Mm-hmm.
And now, like, over time, after using it now for multiple years, I'm making fewer and fewer and fewer of those kinds of errors. And, some days I'll spend an entire day hardly ever talking to AI. And then other days it's like I'm working on the front end and it's just, AI heaven. I can just do so much more stuff up there. It just depends. It depends on the project. Yeah.
Yeah.
I completely resonate with what Justin and Daniel said on this. I mean, it's about giving the AI agent too much control. For example, if I'm not using my brain at all and just following it blindly, I might end up in a debt trap, as you mentioned. But at the same time, not using AI at this time is also not the solution. So as Linus Lee, who is like an AI researcher, he says that, like, we are not just coding anymore. We are designing behaviors for AI to follow. So it's really important for everyone for the future to use it now.
Yeah. And I also used to think that for junior developers or people who are still not junior developers, people who are still trying to enter the world of coding and trying to learn, I used to think that they shouldn't use AI at all. Like that will, I don't know, add a blocker to their brain. Like they don't need to think anymore, no problem solving whatsoever. They're just going to rely on AI. And this is bad for them and for their career and for their learning and so on. But the problem here, like now, after all that time that I discovered AI, the problem wouldn't be that they are using AI. It is basically that they are doing it wrong. Because if you're learning, you want to learn. So using AI to achieve what you're trying to learn or challenge your mind to complete is just beating the idea of learning. Like it just doesn't make sense. But at the same time, it shouldn't be a blocker. Like it shouldn't be a big no. Don't use AI if you're a junior developer or you're still trying to learn. No, if you're trying to learn, well, basically learn. And you can learn from AI and you can learn from creditable sources or creditable sources who provide AI model that can help you learn or something like that. And if you're trying to implement something in your task and your job, whatever, there is no shame at all of using AI if you already know what you're doing and if you already know the steps that it's being taken. And if you notice something that you don't know, then go learn it. Like it's not a hard no to use AI. It's not going to make you lazy if you're actually good on the goal or you have a big or a solid goal in mind that you're learning. So I'm going to focus on learning. If AI wrote something that I don't know what is it about, I'm going to go and learn it. So yeah, it can't make you lazy, but it's only like going to be your issue. It's not the AI fault. It's just a tool. And if you're learning, you go learn it.
Yeah, it's more targeted learning, I think.
Yeah.
Based on what Mostafa was saying, I think I found a question, someone was asking something very similar to what you were saying, or at least for me, it's similar. Would you rather hire someone great at AI prompting but weak on fundamentals, or someone with strong fundamentals and no AI experience?
It's a good question. I would want to know why they don't have AI experience. If it's internal, like there would be it would be a person problem. If they have internal resistance to using AI because they're stodgy in their ways, then I would probably go with the AI person. But the strong fundamentals are harder to achieve than strong prompting. So I would pick strong fundamentals over the prompting any day, as long as that person is not internally resistant to learning new things.
Fully
That's a
second
very
that.
good answer. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very good answer.
Fully second that, yes.
I think we as developers are very well poised to take advantage of what AI is doing for exactly the reason you just said, Justin. Like combining those two expertises is so much more valuable than having just one or the other.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
Okay, and Daniel, this question is for you. With your View School background, how do you balance teaching AI assistants while ensuring students understand the fundamentals?
So this is definitely a hard one. I mean, I rely on Cursor all the time now when I'm actually writing code. And I was at a conference in Tampa, Florida recently. Somebody there called me a vibe coder. And I didn't know how I felt about this because I've been doing development for years, right before all this AI stuff. But I do rely a lot on it now when I'm actually coding. But when it comes to teaching, like I have to turn that off. I have to turn off the Cursor assistant stuff so that it's not just this noise that gets in the way of teaching the fundamental concept. So it's, not just throwing code up on the screen that I haven't even written yet, not even talking about, that grabs the user's attention. It is difficult, but we also do try to, layer in some AI concepts into our Vue specific courses. For example, we did a file uploads course fairly recently. So we taught like the traditional way of creating a file upload component in Vue. This is what you have to do code wise. But then at the certain points of it, I said, okay, here's a screenshot of what I want this to look like. We created the functionality, but let's see how Cursor does handling the styling. And it's just kind of a way to introduce people to it slowly without relying on it and making it take over the concept you're trying to teach. Of course, we're also working on AI-driven development.io. So apart from Vue School, really focusing on teaching people this AI-driven development because we think this is the way things are going. Yeah, not exactly sure how all that will play out. So this is a tricky thing, if I'm perfectly honest.
Yeah, and thank you for mentioning AI-driven development as well. I think that's going to be something really, really cool. Next question, will AI replace most front-end boilerplate, or is it human insight is still essential?
That's interesting. I think a very good example for this would be the Google I/O event we just had, right? They demoed that AI agent that could build a working UI, create a flight booking system from a date picker, validate it, and use Google Pay integration. The agent, I think, did not only scaffold the components, but it also wrote the logic and fetched the data from the APIs. I think that's the glimpse of a future where devs might stop writing up things and start guiding the AI agents like product managers. Having said that, did that particular AI agent look into accessibility? Did it look into the edge cases of how security and payments are managed when it comes to linking it with Google Pay? Did it follow the design system that maybe Google wanted it to follow, or maybe some other company that I have this agent for, they wanted to follow? So these are the edge cases where we as developers will come into play, and the underlying thing might be done by the AI agents. That's what I think.
But honestly, like AI is getting so much better so fast. Like it's impressive how it gets so better. Like it just like I said, it feels to me like magic. It doesn't make any sense that I just write a prompt and it does all these stuff. And every time that a new update happens, a new model is out, and you try it out, oh, it turned out to be better, and this turned out to be better, and this turned out to be better. And people came up with ways that will allow this AI to tailor its output a little bit for your own taste. So you can give it instructions. It's not going to adhere to all of them now, at least now we know that. But in the future, I imagine that it's going to adhere to most of that. Like, yeah, we know it's a language model, and like Daniel like expressed it, it is basically just like respond in prediction way. Like I've seen this thousands of times, so I'm going to do it for you because probably it's right. But I imagine that in time, it's just going to do more. And I don't say that it's not like front-end developers are not going to be needed. I'm saying that when it comes to the question and about the boilerplate, I guess that the boilerplate is going to be always driven by AI. Like even for front-end developers who are working on all the accessibility and the critical parts of the application, will definitely rely on AI because it's going to be good enough so that it gets you the boilerplate that you're expecting, or the starting point, according to your taste, according to your design patterns, according to your instructions, just going to give you a boilerplate. So for the question, I guess it's going to be true very soon.
Yeah. It would be silly, I think, to try to be blank engineer, front-end engineer, back-end engineer. Like, don't worry about which piece of the puzzle you're working on. Just be an engineer, which effectively you can think of as just solving problems. So like learn how to solve problems that in the real world, not just like check off a ticket. And then you'll be well positioned. But saying like, I'm really good at writing HTML attributes is not like, that's not going to be a long-term viable thing, because the AI will absolutely do these things. Like it's really silly. It's like you remember a couple years ago when all the diffusion models were out with images, and they're like, dude, AI is never going to be able to do like people properly, because look at the hands, they've got 6 fingers. I mean, like people, we just throw up all of these like false narratives about AI can't do this, it can't do that. Like, come on, like we're it's going to go blow past that stuff. It's going to blow past that stuff. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, and even for for hiring, like people when they try to hire, now I found a lot of people saying that in the hiring, like in the interview, they get asked if they use AI, and it's actually a bonus. Like it's a good thing if you use AI to complete your tasks, because if you use AI, then you're faster, you're quicker. You're not going to spend your time writing boilerplates. You're just going to get the help of AI so that you can achieve your tasks faster. So a lot of people told me this. Yeah. So it is just going to be a matter of maybe adding some pieces yourself. But when it comes to boilerplate, it's, I think in the future, in the very near future, it's just going to be all AI.
Interesting.
I think we are going through a new phase of technology. Like 92s, the internet exploded, then we had the iPhones, another new word, then we had social media, and now we have AI. So we have seen these tech eruptions from time and then, and with AI, I think we are reaching there. We will be there. So that's the notion that I come from.
Yeah.
We're getting a lot of questions from the audience, and I'm trying to order them in a way that it's similar to what your guys are saying. So we have a question. Would AI create new concepts of jobs?
It did already.
Absolutely.
It did.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And will it continue be like that?
Forever. It's but you can't sit here on this side of history and say what's going to be on that side of history. If we could do that, we would all be, very, very well off. Like nobody would have predicted that putting a touchscreen on a phone would let people drive you around in Uber, right?
You didn't know that, Justin? I knew that back in 2000.
I didn't know that. So what is it? I don't know. It's not prompt engineering. That's not a job. That's just how you do your job. So I don't really know what it's out there, but it's absolutely going to create tons of new jobs. I mean, my job is already basically a totally different job than it was 2 years ago. Like Navya said, I'm more of an orchestrator now. Like I'm telling my team, I do have a team, but the non-human part of the team what to do, and then they do it. And that is a completely different skill set. So yeah, it's going to be totally different jobs.
Yeah.
Humans are smart. I mean, we cannot let AI do anything to our survival and well of survival, beautiful survival. So we will create new jobs, think of new ideas so that we can use AI efficiently. So yeah.
Yeah, I was shocked about the amount of people on Upwork that has the title AI developer. Like it's a title now. It's a role. Like hire me, I'm an AI developer. It's so weird.
So I'm reading this book. It's by the guy who founded LinkedIn. It's called Super Agency, and in the book he compares the rise of steam power to the rise of AI, and the idea behind it is that it continues to create a better world for all of us. Yes, it eliminates some jobs in the process. We don't do things the way we do it before, and yet we're years ahead of the steam power revolution, and we have all kinds of different power now, and yet we still have people working and being productive and earning an income and a living for their families, right? So I don't think the AI is going to, yes, it's going to eliminate some jobs, but there are going to be new kinds of jobs, right? And just something we have to adapt to.
Yeah, agreed.
Well said. So we have to continue with the other questions because we're really getting a lot of them. Another person is asking, if AI works over the context that is being given to it, can we say that the work is ours?
Why not? Yeah.
I will.
I mean,
Yeah.
I will.
Yeah.
Earlier, for example, we were reaching out to Stack Overflow or we were looking at GitHub issues. I was looking to my senior developer and asking for if I'm stuck somewhere. And that's now what I'm doing with Cursor or Copilot. So yes, it's mine.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I think there is an ethical concern, maybe not to coding, but on other aspects where AI is involved. For example, if AI is driving your car and there is an accident, then is it your fault, or it's the cars or the engineers, or?
In that case, it's not my fault. Like,
Yeah, did the code do something wrong? Then it's not mine.
yeah, exactly.
Because I think the ethical concerns with AI is a big issue. But anyway, we will move on to the next question. What is the best AI code assistant for you now, if you can compare with others?
My
Use
vote is Cursor.
Cursor with
yeah.
Claude 4 and Gemini 2.5 Pro seems to do a little better job on the planning, and then Cursor tends to do a better job on the execution. Or sorry, Claude.
Claude, you think Claude does better on the execution than Gemini?
I think Claude 4 does a little bit better job, yeah. But it will do more unrelated things to what you asked. Which is why sometimes I'll like do a plan first with one model and then have Cursor do the execution.
Do you plan right there in Cursor?
Yeah.
Or do you plan in like a web interface? You plan in Cursor?
We have a setup right now. I'm not totally in love with it, so I'm not recommending it, where we basically in the Cursor file, we say you are either in planning mode or execution mode. And so when you ask a question, it starts in planning mode and it'll give you a plan for what it's going to do. And then it asks you, can I do this now? And then you say yes or no, or change this. And then it does it, just as a way to have that initial stopgap. Sometimes I hate it. Sometimes I love it.
Do you find it
interesting?
Do you find it respects that most of the time?
Gemini does. Cursor just does what it wants to do, but it's usually good. So I said
Okay.
Cursor, Claude.
Yeah.
I think we have a few winners here. So for the folks that are watching us right now, I think you heard all the potential good AI. Let's move on to the next one. How can you remain competitive in the industry with the rise of AI? What will be the differentiators if there is a competition to write prompts?
There won't be a competition to write prompts. Don't worry about that. Just know how to use the tool. And you will be competitive if you know how to use AI in the application. Not so much use AI to write the application. Can you use AI to create applications? Because nobody cares about how good you are at writing deterministic code in the future. People care about writing, like all of the businesses being started right now are being started with AI as the core central part of the tech stack. So not using AI to create it. AI is the core central part of the tech stack. So do you know how to interact with a model programmatically? Do you know how to create an agent? Do you know how to do that stuff? That's going to be what differentiates you in the future.
Yeah, agreed.
Perfect. Can AI robots become so advanced that they will evolve and replace mankind?
I love
I
the
can't say
questions.
no. I can't say no. I'm a very fan of Hollywood, so my mind might be a little bit corrupted. So yeah, why not? It might happen.
Anyone else?
No. Well, there's like multiple questions in there. Can it become as advanced as a human? Yes. Will they evolve to replace mankind? Will they evolve? Yes. Will they replace mankind? No. We're fundamentally different, and we have value that is beyond that of the machine. Fundamental value.
You have to watch the Terminator. You're gonna have a different idea.
Yeah, I think most of us have watched it, but maybe for the folks out there, that's a nice recommendation coming from Mustafa. Cool. What's your most unpopular opinion about AI in web development? Tough question.
Yeah,
I think for me, I said it. For beginners, usually, or when I thought about it in the future, I thought like beginners shouldn't use AI at all. It should be a hard no, but then I believe otherwise now.
Yeah, I think mine is also what I said, which is that AI is actually underhyped.
Okay.
For me, it would be like the edge cases handling. That's where, I come from.
Okay, let's go to the next one. Are there any online resources or courses that you would recommend to learn how to build agents?
So I've obviously I'm with Bitter Brains. We're creating the AI driven development course. It's going to go over all of these kinds of materials about creating agents, about using agents in your workflows, about both integrating AI into your apps, more like Justin was talking about, and then also using AI in order to develop the app at hand. So we are developing some of that right now. I've also experienced a few good resources myself, just in studying for, trying to create some of this material. One of the courses that I got to join, or workshops that I got to join, that was really good was from John Lindquist. He's an instructor over at Egghead, about how to create AI agents with MCP, and that was a pretty cool course. But yeah, there's more and more coming out nowadays to help you learn how to do that.
That's cool. So a quick note, View School, Bitter Brains, check that out. And front-end jobs are disappearing for full-stack positions. Is it better to learn AI prompting or a back-end language?
I hate that there is an or here. Like you cannot say like you can learn AI prompting or something. It can never be or.
It's in
Okay.
parallel. Like AI prompting needs to be done parallelly to whatever you are working on, be it front end, be it back end, be it full stack. So it goes parallelly. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would encourage people to just build and worry a little bit, like use the learning resources on the path to building what you want to build. And along the way, like you'll be left with an artifact that might help you get a job. It might become your job. But either way, that is how you are going to learn, is by actually diving in and trying to do this stuff. Don't try to learn AI prompting. That's like saying, should I learn how to do my budget or use Excel? And it's like these things go together. They're not exclusive one from the other. And like when you try to do your budget, you're going to use Excel and learn how to use it to accomplish the goal that you need to accomplish. And that's where AI is right now. Just use it. There's not really any learning involved at this point. Just use it, open it up, use it, and then you will learn as you go through and accomplish your goal.
That kind of reminds me, Justin, back when I was first learning web development, I asked a guy who was in web dev already, should I learn jQuery or should I learn JavaScript? Okay, good question, but not really.
Great analogy.
And we have another question. I think this is a little bit more technical. I want to build a website support AI agents, but the problem is the security because users will also share their email and passwords to it. How can I tackle this problem? I think this is quite specific and maybe we need to know the whole project, but I don't know if you folks have any idea about that.
Security is a problem. It will be a problem going forward. You have to trust the partner who you are sending AI to. I was at the same conference as Daniel a couple weeks ago and was talking to a lot of people about AI. And I heard this reoccurring theme where people who had security related things were trying to set up their own models using their own hardware and stuff. And every single time I was just like, oh no, don't do that. If that's the direction you're thinking you're going, like, do not try to build an application running your own models. It is useless and futile. It will not scale. You will use a subpar model. It is very fun to run DeepSeek on your laptop and think you have a good model, but the model that you're running is this tiny little distilled version, where in comparison, you need serious infrastructure to be able to run this and even more serious infrastructure to run it at scale. So if you want to build something that's actually production, you're going to use an AI foundation model provider, Anthropic, Google, OpenAI. You're going to use one of them. And you either need to, if you're going to send secure information to them, you either need to sign a contract with them where they are going to, do right by you, or don't send that information. So if you need to share email and password, have the AI agent send a link to a place where they enter their email and password. And then they communicate back, okay, that person's authorized. This is what I'm saying. It's like it's an engineering problem right now. There are tons of solutions for it. We just need to think of them and engineer around it.
So you're saying, Justin, that hosting DeepSeek on a live server for yourself is not a good idea?
I think it's fine if you want to play with it as a toy. That's
but
kind
not
of
for
fun.
a production app. Yeah.
No.
See, that's very curious because I was I didn't do that, and the reason was because it looked awfully expensive, and I had this exact problem of I need to interact with the LLM, but I want to keep some information from going into it, and thankfully some of the information that I was dealing with was fairly standard formats, things like email, things like phone numbers that I could regex out, and I was able to fairly efficiently regex out those things, add placeholders before they actually go to the LLM. and then on their way back to the user, replace those placeholders again with the actual information. That way, you're not sending the sensitive information to the LLM, but you're giving the LLM hints and enough information that they can still work with it. Is that solution perfect for all use cases? A lot of them it's not. A lot of things you can't parse out with the regex, right? But for some things you can.
It's a clever idea.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it took some time.
So I hope the person that asked this question is still here and is listening to these different thoughts. Okay, I am going to remove this question and I have one last thing for you. Since we are closing this up, we had a lot of questions, but maybe for the folks that ask those questions and we didn't have the time to answer them, maybe they can find you on social media, or you could stay up in the chat and maybe answer some questions there. My final question is, do you have any final thoughts on AI, something that you want to comment, something new that is coming on AI, something that you don't want to see on AI? I would like a comment from you all.
Yeah.
I'll start. AI is amazing and is really going to revolutionize the way we work, already is. But remember, humans are still key. You want a good team, we need to value humanity first and foremost.
Yes. Yeah.
I think
And
AI is... Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just giving my closing statement here, and I was saying that I think AI is amazing. AI definitely will not take your job, but a developer using AI might. So use it.
Good point.
Yeah, it's a very valid point. Like it really reshapes how we do things, and it's going to continue doing that. And I heard I have no idea how I forgot his name, but anyway, yeah, Jeffrey Way, Lara Cast's creator. So Jeffrey Way said that the future is exciting, but at the same time, it's very concerning. And it's concerning because it's unknown, and it's changing all the time. But we, as a developer, I'd like to believe that we are that kind of people that always knows how to adapt. Because if you never adapt, you never grow. Because yeah, it's just changes all the time. A new framework in every day, and a lot of things that you have to keep up with, a lot of concepts that you have to adapt with, and to change the entire way that you're thinking about something, just to adapt and to keep up with the future and how things are changing. So it's the same thing, but it just changes rapidly. So it will definitely change everything. So it's concerning, but at the same time, it's not necessarily bad. It's just concerning because it's unknown. And like the whole idea of AI-driven development that Better Brains is working on is like, it came to us from the idea is like, it kind of not the same as Justin mentioned. It's like we see this as high potential to build with AI, but we believe that most people are doing it in a wrong way. Like most people like to rely so much on AI without using their skills, without using what they learned, without using their brains. Just try to vibe coding your way into building stuff. But we believe that people can do more with AI, become more efficient. And I think we all agree on that. So that's why that's the whole idea of AI-driven development is we are seeking out like those industry experts, people who are leveraging AI the right way, and they are proving experts, and they can teach us how can we do that, how we can be like them, how we can deal with complex code bases and so on. So yeah, it's not going to replace us, but definitely we need to adapt with it.
Thank you, Mostafa. Justin, any final thoughts from you?
I would just encourage people to go build. Just get out in the world and build stuff. Ideally, beyond, if you have a 9-to-5 job and you're building stuff for some business, build something for yourself. Try to build something that leverages AI. Maybe it's something that helps you do your budget, or Maybe it's something that teaches you how to learn a new computer language or something, but like try your hand at using this, not just to do the coding, but as part of an application, and you will learn so much so fast. And right now there is a shortage of right answers in the world because we don't know the right ways to do these things. It is a little bit like the early jQuery days, where there was, a couple libraries out there, but people are coming up with new stuff all the time. You can be the person that comes up with something new right now. Like nobody has a lead on you. Just get out there and enjoy it and have fun and stop thinking about all of the existential risks. I'm not saying they don't exist, but they exist every time there's a disruption. And this is just the latest one. So, build something.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone for being here with us today, for sharing your knowledge and answering these questions from our audience. Have a lovely day to you all. And some of you, I will see you in some other talks. Bye.